Okay, alright. So this is my attempt at filming a sketchbook tour. A sketchbook that's a little too big for my desk. This sketchbook is pretty cool because I finished it in under a month by one day. Obviously, I'm not Kevin Tran, but I thought that was funny. So I started this sketchbook by testing out how it handled different media. These are Caran d'Ache Neocolor 2, so they're the water-soluble crayons, India ink, acrylic ink, just some pencils and highlighters. I wanted to see how much it would smudge, if Posca would like break the paper, if water-based markers would make it pill up. This is wet on wet. It's a watercolor ink, so I just kind of dabbed it on directly onto the wet paper, and this is just a light wash. And it handled it all pretty well. It did some warping. Obviously, if I had put alcohol markers on here, it would have bled, but I didn't do that because I didn't plan on using alcohol markers. I started off with some figure studies. I really want to get better at drawing people, but it's scary. I'm not the best at it, which makes it hard for me to keep trying. Gifted kid problems. So the next page was a bit of a comfort zone. I like doing these organic shape challenges. What I do is I just fill the page with shapes and then I try and turn them into images of whatever I see. With this one was the first time where I tried to stop being too constrained by the shape itself and like go outside of the shape or stay within the shape and just kind of draw what I see as accurately as, not as accurately as I can, but you know, like this shape, if it looks like a foot, then the big toe would be over here, but I drew it that way. I was just kind of letting myself be a little bit more free with this exercise, and I tried to keep composition in mind, so I framed the page or kept it within a frame, I guess, and I used opposite colors so that they would look good next to each other. And then I used something from this page that I felt like I wanted to explore a little bit more to do this spread. The goal here was that I knew that the perspective on this was way off, so I wanted to try some more. I don't feel like I actually accomplished anything. I tried to paste in some paper to be a little bit more creative. It's alright. It was just using the sketchbook. I did it. I did the thing. And then this is a little hard to see because it's just pencil, but I just wanted to like do some really messy doodles and let myself have fun. This I actually pasted in the flower that I was using as a reference and flattened it. But one thing about this page is I've heard a lot of people talk about making sure that you don't have your sketchbook flat on a table when you're drawing. And the point of that is to make sure that you're seeing what you're drawing at the same angle as you're seeing it on the paper. So what I was doing here is I was just putting the flower directly on my sketchbook. So when I was drawing this one, I had it like right here. So when I would look at it, I wasn't moving my whole head and the angle stayed the same. This was another blob challenge. I hated this page. Absolutely hated this page. I wanted to be kind of fun with this and do a rainbow and have the composition, and I thought I'd turn them all into monsters, but I used my Neocolors, which are wax based. Even though they're water soluble, they are wax crayons. And so every time I tried to color over it, I had a hard time. I started with Posca, I moved on to like Micron or something, and everything just kind of didn't work. So I got really impatient and just tried to fill the page, and I don't really like any of these except for maybe this little queen bee. This is one of my husband's fish tanks. This was another one where I was trying to loosen up and have fun and just kind of like scribble, draw, and just really have fun with it. There's a little betta fish that he has. He had recently just redone this whole tank. You can't tell, but I actually did this sketch with a 4-color pencil. It's got 4 different color leads melded into one inside it, which is pretty fun. But I went over it with Neo colors to add some color. Both the 4-color pencil and the Neo colors are water soluble, so I figured if I wanted to blend anything, I could, but I didn't. This was another blob challenge, but I thought it would be fun to, instead of color the blobs, I'd color the negative space. And I really like this one. It was mostly ducks in the beginning, and then there were other birds, and then there were other animals. I think the only non-animal things are this hat, this PlayStation controller, and a macaroni noodle. Sometimes you can only see one thing in a blob, and you just gotta lean into it. But I thought this page was really cute. I did sketches with a neon pink pencil, and then went over it with some blue ink. That's a shrew. I did some horns. Oh, the boomerang is obviously not an animal. An anteater, and a lot of these, like, I would start out with a reference with the shrew and the anteater, or like the ducks, and then the next couple of animals would be from imagination. I took a break in the middle of this spread to do this one because I was having so much fun drawing the ducks. And I didn't want to try and force every shape to be a duck, but I just wanted to keep drawing ducks, so I did this. I often have LED lights around my ceiling that have a sort of black light effect, and that makes the neon pencils glow, but you can't really see the orange one when I'm not in that environment. So I painted over it with some blue to try and help the orange stand out because they're opposite colors, and then I did some line work over the pink. It's okay. It's not my favorite spread, but I just wanted to keep drawing ducks, so that's fine. Also, the blue ink here and here was still wet, so then when I put my pencil down, it rolled and created these little splotches. It was an accident, but I don't hate it. These are super duper light. I was trying to draw from life. I got well, this page, I got a monstera plant, and I was trying to draw that from life. And then this page were some dried carnations that I have. And then there's my 4-year-old's handprints because she likes to be included in my art. Some figure studies that I tried to have composition in mind. Tried to make sure they were all standing and kind of put them on the same level. My favorite one of this page, I think, this one. When I first did this page, I had like a clear idea of which one was my favorite and my second favorite, but I definitely don't like this one. I don't like how I did her leg. You can't really see the turn of her knee. And I tried to get the folds of these pants, but it didn't really work too well. But overall, I like this spread. I made some little notes that you can't see because they're teeny tiny about the stuff that I didn't like the most about each one, so I knew what to work on. I did these cloud studies with Neocolor and gouache, which I really like the mixture of because the gouache blends out the Neocolor since it's a water-soluble crayon, but it also kind of blends with the color. So yeah, I like that. I also added a little bit of oil pastel on top for some bright highlights that had a little texture. And I did seal it, but just to make sure that it didn't transfer onto the next page, I put this vellum on top and I traced it with a chrome marker. And I was just really enjoying this page and like being in my sketchbook. I didn't want to do anything too intensive, so I saw a picture on Instagram and I said I'm gonna just kind of scribble it on the page. I was gonna leave it as a sketch, but I ended up painting in some of the green background and making a sort of grass texture. I don't know, it was fun, so I like it. I do also actually really like the texture of the middle of this daisy. This was a page where I was studying some Kibbitzer references. I'll put a link in the description to, I don't know, where to find Kibbitzer. I follow Kibbitzer on Patreon. They have fantastic monthly references of like simplified figures. And then I had taken out something from my idea jar, which is just something where whenever I have a drawing idea, I write it down because I'm not very quick with thumbnails. And I pulled out skulls and fruits. And I'm not the best. Geez, I don't have the visual library of drawing skulls, so I decided to start studying skulls. And I did this, and I did like the most millennial thing ever, and wrote roar in the corner just because I didn't want to put another skull there. I had toned this page because I had some extra of this green. So I went over it. I was working on it with some pink highlighter so that it would stand out in my pseudo blacklight situation. And then I did these fruits just to kind of get like shape and color palette references, and put some vellum over it to kind of like see how skulls could fit onto those shapes and maybe interact with those colors. This page I found some references on Pexels. I'll put another link in the description to that website if you haven't heard of it. It's a royalty-free photography site, so it's great for references that are a little bit more like artistic because they're done by photographers. But I just kind of got tired of this, and this page was kind of a lesson in saying, okay, you can abandon a page. I didn't finish any of the paintings. This one's a little bit more finished. I did like block in stuff for each of them, and then I was gonna finish each one separately. I was working on this one and just was frustrated and bored. And if you're just not, feeling it anymore, then move on. So I did some more skulls. This one's kind of like a blob challenge, but I didn't do random blobs. What I did with this one was look at skull references and try and just draw the silhouette, and then I went back and drew the skull on top, and I actually like sketched it out. So some of them go outside, some of them stay inside the silhouettes that I drew, and I tried to kind of have the colors blend into each other with the flow for a sort of composition kind of deal. You can't really see the dark ones, the purple ones. There we go. I am working on a story series. I don't know how I'm going to present it, but I'm trying to flesh out the idea of the character in my mind. I used to write a lot, like in a novel sort of format, so I didn't put too much thought into what my characters look like, which is silly because you should also describe what the things in stories look like. But at the same time, it's okay for characters to seem kind of ambiguous. That way anybody can relate to them. Anyway, I've been thinking about illustrating it. So I'm trying to flesh out my idea of what the characters look like. On this page I wanted to do something quick. So I did a really loose oil pastel painting of a tree. The reference was really blue and like foggy, so I like how I changed it to a warmer environment, and then to protect it I put some vellum on, and I liked tracing the other one, the clouds, so I did it again. This is more exploration for the story that this page is working on. A different type of character that's supposed to be really scary, and I kind of really like the way these Venetian carnival masks and other masks, this is not a Venetian carnival mask, and I don't think this one is either, but I like the way that these kind of like look. They look fascinating and beautiful, but also kind of terrifying. My husband said it reminded him of Final Fantasy concept art, which, true. And then here I was doing some more exploration of the skull fruits idea. I haven't actually finished that, but I was kind of settling on the idea of cherry skulls. I also kind of want to do a dragon fruit one because I like the way that the green bits come off, kind of like a Ghost Rider flame situation, except it's a fruit. But I did some studies of cherries, and then I tried to see if I could turn this into a fruit. I'll probably do it digitally so I can adjust it some more, but you can kind of see. Now you can't. But I did the sketch for this with orange highlighter. I think I just had it nearby or in my pencil bag, so I did. But it looks really cool under the black light sort of situation. I also really like the way I did the hatching shading on this one. I don't normally do hatching. This was another blob challenge. This one I really enjoyed. I think everything on this page is from imagination. No, that's not true. The only thing I think I used a reference for was the shells and this hand. I actually used my hand as a reference. I don't know if you can tell. And then there's a butt and a chest and another butt and another butt. So this whole page kind of made me laugh, and I really liked this mushroom and the skull. Yeah, this, I was kind of like going off of a high on this. Like, this was just so much fun to do, and everything that I did felt like it turned out really well. So I did some mushroom studies afterwards, which I also really like. It's hard to see the pencil. I don't normally do like really dark pencil. These ones are a little easier to see, which is interesting because I did it in my pseudo blacklight with a highlighter yellow pencil. The brown watercolor wash and the blue were added afterwards in order to make them stand out more when it's not in the blacklight situation, because that yellow was like invisible in regular light. This was Map Crunch studies. I did them in Neo color, trying to be loose and just get like the general idea. I don't really like any of them, but I like this one the most. But yeah, I tried to tone the paper with a water-based marker to have some texture to it, because obviously you can't get a very smooth wash with a water-based marker. But yeah, this one I was just trying to be loose. And I saw a video where somebody suggested drawing figures from the silhouette. So I tried to do that. This one turned out horribly. I tried to have like highlight, midtone, and shadow, but my midtone was still too dark. So I think I just went too far too fast with this one. I like this one a bit better, but I think I tried to do too much detail texture over here. This one just feels kind of boring. I got bored with this spread and I didn't like the way it was turning out, so I just kind of tried to fill the page and move on to another blob challenge, which was a little bit harder than the last one. I I don't remember why. But I powered through. I was using a dark umber Prismacolor pencil, and that's when I realized that I really enjoy using a dark umber Prismacolor pencil. I'd also recently gotten a dark brown Posca, so that's what I did the line art with. Some of the stuff that I did like from imagination is just really weird, and that's okay. I mean, it's fine. I started with this one. Oh, that's why. This was really hard because I saw like a hawk in this spot. I tried to do it with pencil first, and it like wouldn't show up, like with graphite pencil, and it didn't show up, so I had to erase it. And then when I finally got it down, it looked nothing like I had imagined, and it bothered me. I was not happy, and I did this one, and the horns were weird, and it was just a very frustrating page. These were supposed to be saddles, but I have no idea what a saddle really looks like by itself. I do like the way the bear turned out. And this is kind of creepy, and I like it. This bird. I love this bird. I kind of feel like the Posca line art ruined it. But that is just artist problems, right? The line art kills the sketch. I did a nose study spread just because I felt like I was doing a lot of noses in my blob challenges. So like here and here. And I think there's another one there. There was another nose on the previous blob challenge. And I see the nose, and then I try and draw it, and then it doesn't look very nose-ish. It's not very obviously a nose. So I tried to do a nose study. I feel like if I'm drawing just a nose with a reference, then I can do a nose perfectly fine. But then when you add a nose to something else, or try and like take away some of the... I see noses in a very painterly way. I see it based on color and not line, so when I try and do a sketch of a nose, it doesn't feel like it looks like a nose. I'm not really sure I learned anything with this, other than that struggle that I have. But it's good to have a name to your struggles. And then this is the last page, really. I wanted to do like a long portrait, full page spread of some flowers that my husband got for me. But that just would have taken too much time, and my kids were being wild, and so I decided to just kind of doodle with another Posca that I had recently gotten, and I was gonna do more to it, but you know, I got to the end and I was just like, I'm done, this is fine. The back of this page was just kind of like a scribble page, so because this is staple bound and soft cover, these last pages I felt like didn't really, this page and the beginning page I felt like didn't really need art, so I like doing, this is a good way to see how different mediums react to the page. You can also do this in the back, but if you do it in the back, I would suggest doing it on this side so that if anything does bleed through, you can, it'll be on the back cover. But yeah, that's my sketchbook. It is a Fabriano Academia sketchbook. I've only seen them on Blick and Amazon. They're cheaper on Blick. They're great. They handle a lot of media pretty well. There is some warping when you use wet media, but that is to be expected with pretty much any paper that's not specifically watercolor paper. Like even Strathmore mixed media sketchbooks, which are 100% cotton because they're made for mixed media, they're smaller and they will warp. So don't be mad at a sketchbook just because it warps. And that is it. Thank you for joining me, and subscribe to my channel. I'm supposed to ask you to do that. Anyway, bye-bye!